Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Zooming In, where I sit down and share my knowledge and know-how on being an S Plus charger. Today we're going to be looking at some ways to warm up those fingers and muscles before heading out into battle. Warming up seems minor in a game like Splatoon, but just like sports, warming up that muscle memory can go a long way. I'll share with you some of the exercises I do when I'm warming up, explaining some of their functions along the way. First off, for warming up, I either use some of my gear sets I use in battle, or I use a particular set which is purely just ink recovery and damage. The damage is so that I can mimic my builds with a similar amount of points, and the ink recovery is just so I can keep refilling my tank to keep firing as I'm warming up. Use as much as you want. If you prefer Inksaver main or anything else you have, wear whatever feels comfortable. Make sure you're nice and comfortable in whatever position it is you play in normally, whether it's laying down or your legs crossed. And let's head into the testing area. To start off, I like to hit Y to reset my camera a few times. I personally sit with my legs crossed to steady my arms when I snipe. I make sure that my legs are at an angle that I want them to be at, and that my elbows are perfectly rested. Then I hold my gamepad at my usual angle and start hitting Y to make sure everything is lined up. You want to make sure you're absolutely comfortable when you're getting ready, because if you feel off, your sniping will probably feel off too. Starting off, I like to do a lot of simple movement, just to start off slow and do nothing drastic from the start. I start by strafing, which is moving left to right while firing, and simply aiming for the targets. I'm not looking to drag my shots or snap them either, which is something I'll explain in a later video. I try not to move past the first line that you start on, as the E-leader can reach the last dummy without having to really move forward to get it. It is okay to move forwards and backwards though, like you see me doing here, since in a real battle, you'll be doing plenty of moving. I don't really choose to do this for a particular amount of time, so just do it until you feel like you're hitting all the dummies pretty consistently. After playing E-leader for so long, I have a good mental gauge of how much ink is in my tank, and how much I need to stay in ink to get enough ink back to keep firing. I usually swim a little between shots to keep firing and whatnot. Next up, I start snapping shots. A real quick definition of snapping is when you snap your gamepad into a direction really fast to hit a target, usually as a reaction. I try not to get too much into the habit of snapping shots, as it can cause me to miss really important shots if I get into the habit of snapping too much. I usually kind of just pick what dummy I'll shoot at and snap to it, also while strafing, as a moving target is harder to hit than one standing. Another thing I like to do is what you could maybe call camera exercises. I use +5 sensitivity, so I do most of my aiming with motion controls and a lot of my big camera movements with the stick. After a while, you get used to how much you need to nudge on the stick to turn the amount you want it to. I'm not sure how it works for people with lower sensitivities, so maybe you can opt out of this one or still try it yourself. All I simply do is just drag my reticle over to the dummy and shoot, then turn my camera around and hit the next one. Sometimes I like to snap too, so it's up to you. Missing shots and warming up isn't all that bad. After all, it's why you're warming up. Don't feel bad for missing shots while you're warming up, because it's all a part of the process. You can take notice of why you're missing though. For instance, I am very bad at snapping to my left. Those are shots I miss a lot, but that's just something to work on. Once again, just keep doing it until you're satisfied, or when you start hitting the dummies consistently. There's not really a set time I do each exercise for, so it's up to you for how much practice you think you need. Last up, we have some right side peeking exercises. You think there aren't really any places to practice your peeking in the testing area, but there are. For these exercises, to pull off what one could consider a good peek, you'll want to make the shot and come back behind the wall so fast that the dummy you shot doesn't have time to show you how much damage you did to it. I can be pretty weak at peeking, so practicing these is especially good for me. The first spot is on the top of the ramp leading into the other section of the testing area. Set yourself up next to the wall like you see me doing here, and you might want to throw a burst bomb down for comfort and also to refill. As you can see, I keep a mental image in my mind of where the dummy is before peeking, and just as the shot is fully charged, peek out and release and immediately come back behind the safety of the wall. The dummy doesn't show how much damage I dealt, which means that was a pretty good peek. The last spot you'll be in a similar area, just situated more on the ramp itself. Throw down a burst bomb to lay down that ink of comfort, and you'll be peeking off the wall in front of you. Be careful here, as you can hit the ramp in front of you, so it's also not a bad place to practice a little jump shotting too. There are a variety of dummies for you to shoot here, at varying distances as well. It's also a place where you can test out and practice your half charges, to test out how much damage you're wearing, and whether you want to bump it up or tone it down. Do these until you feel nice and comfortable. That's all I've got for you today, so I hope this helps you limber up for your future practice. After a good amount of time in the training room, I usually head to Turf War to start practicing on moving targets without the stress of ranked. Remember to keep calm and accept that mistakes do happen, but with hard work and practice, you can keep improving. Hope everyone enjoyed this episode today, because next we'll be going to look at movement in depth. Remember to please like, comment, and subscribe. This has been your girl Spectre, and I'll catch you later.